Hey, in my last video, I showed you this little piece of code which calculates prime numbers and prints them on the screen. And I showed you how to optimize the code to run multi-threaded, so to execute this function in a worker thread, so in a worker script to run off thread to have a responsive UI that I can actually click the button while the calculation runs. Now, in this video, I want to show you how to optimize the code to run on a single thread. So first of all, here's the issue again. I just reload the page and it executes that function to calculate prime numbers. I'm not able to click the button, nothing happens, and it's not printing out every single number, it just prints out the last number. And now, how can we actually solve this? The first thing you're going to do is we are trying to use a recursive approach. So we call the same function over and over again and just increment the number we want to test if it's a prime number. Let's do that. So instead of having a for loop that is just looping from 2 to 99,999, we just call the same function over and over again and increment just a variable I. To be sure that this is not running endless, we need to have an if flag here. So we say if e is less than 99,999, then we call the same function again. This is so-called recursive approach. As you can see, this will throw an error. We will probably exceed the call stack size. So let's check the console, and yes, maximum call stack size exceeded. It means when the interpreter runs your JavaScript code, so the interpreter in this case is my browser, it puts every function that you're calling here onto the call stack. So it goes always into the function where you call another function, and puts it all on the call stack, and then just runs the code when it finishes looping it up. This time it puts probably 99,999 calls on the call stack, which is too much. So how can we solve that? There's a little trick that I'm going to do this, and it's using the setTimeout method. So we just say setTimeout right here without delivering a timeout. We can actually just write 0 for the timeout, but we could even remove it. So I just don't do it. There is no timeout. And what this does is it puts that execution of that function here at the end of the call stack. That means it clears the call stack first, does everything that needs to be done, and once that's done, then it executes right that one. So it puts it at the end of the call stack. So now let's see how that works. You can see it works. And but what you also will realize is it's super slow. If you watch my other video where we perform the prime number calculation off thread, you can see it's way faster than this approach. But still, if you are just single threaded and you need to kind of optimize your code because it's blocking somehow, this is an approach. Use the setTimeout to put some execution at the end of the call stack, first of all. And second, try to split it up. Recursive approach is probably not the best because, as you can see, it's slow, but it still keeps your main thread responsive, that you don't have one big function where the execution takes like a very long time. Instead, try to split it up into smaller functions where you might need to call the setTimeout to put that execution at the end of the call stack. I hope that helps. If you have more questions, leave a comment below.